Usually when something breaks, having the right tools is essential to get that fixed.
Do we follow the step-by-step guide providing to us, or do we figure it out using one of these tools?
Nerdy dude stuff.
For those of you keeping track at home, today's Beer of the Day is brought to you by Loveland Ale Works out of Loveland, Colorado. This is called Tiramisu Chocolate Stout, sitting at 7.5% alcohol by volume. This is a pretty solid stout that is brewed with notes of caramel, coffee, and chocolate. With it being tiramisu, I would have probably liked a little bit of splash of a cinnamon-y addition, just cuz. But this is also brewed with rolled oats, malt wheat, malted barley, and natural flavors. Pretty decent, not as much. It's a little more on the chocolatey side of the tiramisu flavoring, not as caramelly or coffee as I'd like, but overall pretty decent. 3.5 out of 5. Cheers to you guys.
Bink! What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video about plug-and-play miners. First time on the channel, please subscribe, turn on bell notification, like this video, because this video is going to be very helpful for you. Trust me, if you guys have an SCP miner or an Xaminer brought to you by the SCP development team, we have ours, and we've gone through some issues in the past 2 weeks where it hasn't been functioning. They've given us some options to try and fix it, and that's what we are going through today. So we are going to wrap things up with this little introduction, and then we are going to get right to troubleshooting the device. And hopefully by the end of this video, we'll have that resolved with a nifty little how-to guide for you. Now, I do want to give a disclaimer. This isn't an actual video where I have successfully completed, at the time of this recording, haven't successfully completed correcting the issue yet. This is a video where I'm actually doing it step by step as the steps are given to me to get to the end result. So hopefully by the end of this video, we have a positive end result with our Xaminer back up and running, or we could all just crash and burn and be miserable. So, stay tuned to find out. Let's jump to the videos on the computer screen. So for the last 2 weeks, our Xaminer home screen has looked like this. We try to go into our financials or our stats, and it says preparing miner or giving us issues. Thanks to Kenneth over at SCP, they have sent us the fixing steps, and we're going to go over them now. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we have a monitor and a keyboard, or a keyboard and a monitor, plugged into our device. We have it booted up, and we have the main screen here, which gives us these options to supervise control, blah, blah, blah. The first step that we want to do is we want to run from the console, run the command sync console latest. In just a moment, I'm going to actually plug that in with the little parenthesis, or the apostrophes you see there. It's very important you do not put the apostrophes in, or else that will fail. So we went through and we had to retype that. Now the next step you want to do is you want to make sure that you run the update the BIOS before we did some restarts here. So all you do is update BIOS, and then you give the device a reboot. When you reboot the device, you want to continually hit the delete key until a setup menu comes up. So while it's rebooting here, as long as you hit the delete key correctly, you'll get this setup screen ready to go, and you're going to then select setup down at the bottom right. You're going to just use the arrow keys to have setup highlighted, and then hit enter, and you're going to be pulled up onto this screen, and then you're going to want to scroll down to advanced and hit enter. From here, you're going to want to go to hardware monitoring, so you're going to want to arrow down until you see that hardware monitoring option right there and hit enter. And then from here, you want to click on the drop down for the chassis fan speed and set it to 60%. That is going to be the second option, I believe. You'll see right there, one is disabled, and then the other one says lowest speed, so we're just checking the disabled to make sure it's not that. And then we're going to go to system fan speed control, set that to 60%. And then we are going to save and exit, followed by a reboot. So we are then going to hit escape, scroll down to save and exit. Then it's going to give us save changes and reboot, which we are going to hit right now. Then we're going to hit OK to do that, and we're going to let it run through its reboot phase. So we have successfully gone through all those steps to get everything updated from that bit of information that you saw there, and now we are on to actually upgrading our user interface, because we are still getting that preparing miner screen. As we speak right now, we are going through the actual user face update. It's kind of gotten some speed bumps and hiccups, but we are going to report back to the unit and check on it after we finish some more videography. Our next step is to update our supervisor control. So all we do is hit option 2. You need to hit 2 on the top number bar, not the numpad. Hit enter. Then you're going to hit option 3, update the supervisor, and then it's going to take a moment. After you do that, we're going to repeat that process, and then we're going to select option 4 to update the UI, and that's currently where we are sitting right now. All right, so as of right now, we've had no success in getting the Xaminer back up to be able to access or see the dashboard. We are going through and doing a UI interface update, which I have some pictures in the support tab that I'll show here in just a moment, but I wanted to show those steps that you saw on my crappy camera footage on screen here, so that way you guys can pause and take a look. If you are having some issues with the fans, I know there was a small batch of us that have issues with updating to the UI, and that's currently what we're working on, so you'll have to stay tuned to a part 2 of this video. But if you are having some issues, you could try this quick fix that we put on there, where you connect keyboard monitor. From the console, you want to run the command sync console latest without the parentheses there, or the apostrophes there. Then you want to run command update BIOS, once again the same. Give it a little bit of time to finish that. Then you want to reboot the unit, and then while it's rebooting, you're going to click the delete key until you get the green setup screen. Go to advanced, then go to hardware monitoring, then drop down from the chassis fan speed to 60%, save and exit, then reboot. So that should get you up there. Now after you've done all that, what you want to do is reboot the unit, and then once you're in those options, you saw where I had to click 2 and then 3, so you want to do the supervisor control, then update the supervisor, and then if you you want to update the UI by doing 2 and then 4 instead of 2 and 3. These are some of the issues that we've been getting. We'll pull up those pictures on screen here, and you can see that everything's kind of fired itself off, and then we started to get into some stale situations here where it just stopped churning over. One thing that I'm concerned about, which I haven't really brought up with the support group yet, is that this one line of code keeps saying failed at the end, and then we keep freezing on fetching the metadata for the range manifest from this place. We rebooted the unit, and we got a different screen that gave us a second one that said fetch metadata, HTTP fetch get 304. So I'm wondering if there's a network error there, but you could see it responded in 411 megaseconds, and then we decided to reboot that one more time and give it a whirl. That's not it. That's just after about half an hour we waited. Again, terrible quality picture because I took this on my phone, but this time when we rebooted and tried again, we at least had some significant improvement to the connection speed, and you can see it was fetching the data in 3 megaseconds. I know it's blurry there, so you're just going to have to take my word for it. But again, in this line of code here at the end, you could see something has failed, so I'm not sure what is going on. As of right now, when I looked into some other statuses on the actual device, I went to see if the SPD was online, and it wasn't. And then the supervisor was it was not connected. So right now we are re-downloading the blockchain to the device, and then we're going to try this process one more time while we wait for support to send us back some tips and tricks to get this device running. And then of course we will record that and give you guys an update video, probably not tomorrow as we do our live stream. And unfortunately right now I need my other monitor to go back here because I'm using my monitor, my gaming monitor, to connect into the device, and I have a couple of things I need to do on my actual gaming PC over here, which is why I need that monitor there at the moment. But anyway, we will update as everything goes along, and we will record any footage if we go back to our Xaminer with it being on the monitor and everything is locked in. But at this point, I will not be updating anymore in today's video, so you'll have to subscribe and stay tuned to that. Anywho, unfortunately, that's going to be it for me today, guys. I really wish I could have given you a better video with better resolution on updating and fixing the Xaminer, but unfortunately now we're coming up to about 2.5 hours of record time with basically maybe 50% of the problem solved. At least we got that one batch issue solved, but we still don't have access to our Xaminer from the dashboard, or can see anything, or can get the UI updated. So, you know, I record these videos as like my personal journey. I'm not trying to sell you a product. You're going to have some of the issues that I have, and so that's why I try to get these things out. Back in the day when we first got our Xaminer, it was plug and play, and you just logged into the the dashboard from the IP address, and we didn't have any problems from there. We had the occasional shut off, which we would have to redo it, but we didn't really have anything. You know, we do Helium content, and we want to set up the best setup with the antennas and placement and height and all that stuff, and that was probably one of the most complicated things we've done on this channel, not saying it's, on a scale of 1 to 10 complications, that was probably only about a 5.5, maybe a 6, whereas the Xaminer, we were kind of just hoping it was plug and play. And I know things are going to have their issues and need their updates, but, we just don't have the time today to get it done. I've got my girls waking up from a nap. They're running around the house naked while their mom is about to go out for the evening, and I just can't sit here and play around with that. I've got to get my monitor back up here for a little bit of stuff I need to do a little bit later today, and I just can't let it sit and churn and not do anything. So I'll wait until support sends me some messages and, maybe some step-by-step guides and trials that we can try, and then put the monitor back. But as of right now, we just really can't, unfortunately. I really like the Xaminer and SCP, and I do see a long-term project with them to make some serious passive income, even to the point where I'd like to get multiple devices, not just the do-it-yourself ones. So learning now with just our single device, our 64 terabyte, is better in the long run. So if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to reach out to me on Discord or Twitter. I'm so sick of Telegram because of all the stupid Tron mining programs and the Chinese accounts that keep reaching out to me with the same broken English, and it's just terrible, and I keep ignoring them. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell notification, all that good stuff. I'm O'Prius, and we'll see you guys next time.